Test 1, 2. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Hardrocker Luncheon brought to you by Subway. Appreciate their support. Hope everybody's having a great week. Want to get things started. We got a lot of speakers this afternoon. This is when it gets to be busy. You got cross country, you got football, you got volleyball, soccer, basketball getting ready to go. We'll start with cross country head coach Steve Johnson as they get set for the region meet. Welcome up, head coach Johnson.
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, we're going to be heading down to Canyon, Texas, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's just about 20 minutes south of Amarillo. It's the host side is West Texas A&M. They've got a dedicated cross-country course actually right across from their basketball center. It's a pretty nice course. We were down there a couple of years ago, and we were actually really surprised with how fast the course down there ran. It sounded like they were going to get a little bit of rain this week, but I don't think it's going to slow things down much there. There are 32 teams on the women's side, 31 on the men's side that are eligible to compete in the South Central region. We don't anticipate that everybody will show up, but there will probably be about 25 teams on each side that will field full teams, and then there will be some teams that just bring an individual or two that are ready to go. For us, this is going to be a tough one. Took a long look at what happened in the conference meet, and especially on the women's side, we think we still have some room to improve a little bit. When we look at the women's rankings, 8 of the 10 teams in the rankings come out of our conference for the region, and a couple of those teams are teams that we've seen and that we were pretty close to in the conference meet. We've got, when I looked through, there were, looking at head-to-head matchups on the conference side, there were 5 teams where we matched up, where we were within 30 seconds one way or the other of at least 4 of their runners at the conference meet. So we just need to get on the positive side of a couple more of those matchups, and we can really flip the tables on people. On the men's side, it's going to be a big change for a lot of them. At the region, we go from running 8Ks, which is 5 miles all year, to the 10K, which is 6.2. So adding that extra mile and a quarter really changes the nature of the race. But what we've done all year is we've had everything geared around getting ready for that 10K and getting ready for the mentality that it takes to race a 10K. These guys are real comfortable racing an 8K, which only takes about 27 minutes. But when you stretch it out to a 10K, you're going over that 30-minute mark. It's a totally different beast. And so what we saw last year will be a different strategy, because that was a slower course than what we saw this year. It'll be a lot more aggressive up front. Adams State barely pulled out the win over Colorado Mines on the strength of their 3, 4, 5 runners, and I expect Colorado Mines is going to be gunning for them this week at the 10K. So it's going to be a good race up front on the guys' side. The women's side, I would look at Western State and Adams State to duke it out. Adams beat Western pretty handily at the conference meet, but 2 weeks earlier, Western got them by a nose. So should be a good race up front. There's 6 qualifying spots for nationals up for grabs on the men's side and 4 on the women's side. What sort of questions are there? Yeah, when we came in this season, the first thing we talked about was what do we want to get done. And on the men's side, we were 15th last year, and we felt like we were at least there this year. I think that's still the case. If we come out with a top 15 finish, we'll be pretty happy on the men's side. On the women's side, we were 16th, and I laid out 12th as my goal for the women coming in this year. And they told me that wasn't good enough. So they want a top 10 finish. Other questions? Coach Larsen.
What determines the length of courts?
The NCAA gives guidelines for the regular season as far as what it has to fall in. Like the men can run anywhere from a 4K to an 8K or 10K, excuse me, during the regular season. But most coaches don't want to run too many 10Ks through the entire year, let alone the cross-country season. So they stay away from that until we get to the region, because they know if they qualify for nationals, they're going to have another one in 2 weeks. So 8K is kind of been decided on as the standard, and if you see something shorter, it's probably early in the season. On the women's side, I believe, Coach Schaefer, you can correct me, but I believe 3K is the shortest they can go on the women's side, and up to 6K. And 6K has been determined as the standard, in part because of trying to make progressions to the next level as well. For those top-end athletes, but also just to continue to try to stretch it out. They wanted to make it a little bit more fair of a competition. What they found at the 5K, and even if it was shorter than that, was that mile 800 runners frequently had a lot easier time with that transition than the one with 6K, so it forces them to adjust and become a little bit more of an aerobic athlete. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Hardrocker volleyball, just a few matches left to recap this past weekend at home and preview Shattern State and Regis on the road. Welcome up head coach Doug Tabbert.
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, kind of a tough weekend this past weekend. We had Mesa State came in on Friday. Kind of a veteran team, made a really deep run in the national tournament last year. Had a lot of those kids back. They've kind of been up and down this year a little bit. But they're kind of a handful when they're playing well, and they were kind of a handful for us. First set, we played pretty well for about 2/3 of it. Problem was it was the very beginning and the very end that we didn't play very well, and kind of decided it. Second set, played much better, really defended really well. And had a lead late and kind of got a tough break at I think 23 all, and we just didn't finish it off. And then we didn't handle that very well, because the third set we got worked pretty good. But so it, kind of those emotionally draining things, because we're feeling pretty good in the second set. We're playing really well. We kind of feel like you got it in hand, and then you get a tough call. But again, we didn't handle that real well. And Westminster came in on Saturday, and they just beat the crud out of Black Hills on Friday night. First set was close, and I think they beat them 25-16, 25-14 in the second and third set at BH, and you're kind of thinking of what's going on there. Again, first set, kind of close, but they got the better of us. Second set, we played much better. Had a lead late and got a really tough break. Right near the end that we would have had 7 point on them, and we just couldn't hang on. Third set came back and won, played better, and then they just responded better in the fourth than we did, and got us pretty good. So that was those kind of emotionally draining matches where you feel like you had something in hand and you didn't finish it, and it's just kind of with a young team that's we're struggling for wins. When those things happen, I think it makes it that much worse, and so it's kind of a tough weekend. We head down to Shattern Friday, and then Regis on Saturday. Shattern's kind of a unique situation right now. Their head coach got suspended about 3 weeks ago for the season, and I think they've played better since then for whatever reason. So you kind of hope that's going to cause a problem, and I think they're actually playing better. When we played them up here, they've got 2 or 3 really dynamic hitters that are kind of feast or famine type players. They can do a lot of damage, but they can be really high air at times. And we did a really nice job on 2 of them. And the third, she gave us some problems, but it'll come down to they don't ball control well. They're not a great defensive team. If our ball control and serving game can give them problems more so than their offense can give us problems, then we'll be okay. And we got a good chance to get a win. If those 2 or 3 hitters come out and they're really playing well and lights out, and we can't find enough offense to counter that, it'll be a little bit more challenging. So it'll be kind of see how they play, how we handle it. It'll be an interesting matchup because our strengths are different than theirs, and our weaknesses are different than theirs. So we'll see how that all fits together. And then Regis on Saturday, good team, one of the top teams in the RMAC. They'll be in the postseason. They got a really nice right side hitter, putting up really good numbers. We did a really nice job on her when we played the first time here, but their outsides kind of torched us. So they got some firepower, a little more than we do, and again, it'll come down if we can defend really well and really serve tough and find just enough offense. We got an opportunity, but we'll have our hands full stopping their hitters because they got 2 or 3 really nice hitters, 2 outsides and a right side that can get it done. So it'll be a challenge, and we'll have to play well to do that. This past week, Anna Bright had a great match for us, freshman middle out of Colorado. I think it's the best she's played probably since our preseason, since conference started. Really had it put up really nice numbers against Westminster, and it's kind of I don't know if you want to call it a breakout match, but it's one of those matches where you finally see somebody, hey, that's the level that you're capable of playing out more often. And just if you were here on Saturday, you saw she played really well, and we just didn't play that well around her, unfortunately. But and then next week's BH, they're struggling, we're struggling. It's here, thank goodness. It'll be a great match because it always is with us and them, and that'll be our season finale. And we'll look forward to having a good crowd there, and it'll be competitive. And if there's a match that our kids want to win, it's it. And I'm sure they feel the same way. So we're kind of hanging in there. Emotionally, I think we're in a pretty good place still. Mentally, we're in a pretty good place still, I think. Physically, we're hanging by a thread. We've had 11 kids in practice the last 2 days, and that's a little tough. So, but our spirits have been good. So I think we'll finish at least very respectably, and we'll get that done. Brad's got a few clips here from this past weekend. This is against Mesa on Friday. Michaela Reese on the kill. You wonder why volleyball coaches get worn down. That's that kind of stuff. So, but that's some of the best defense we played in a while was this weekend. So, and this is against Westminster on Saturday. Again, Michaela Reese on the kill. Here's Anna. Again, had a really nice match. Another nice home rally. Get some of the best defense we played for a while was this weekend, so we just got to find some offense to back it up. Questions from anybody?
What about the 4 seniors?
Oh, yeah, I should, sorry. Senior night this past weekend, we had 4 that we recognized, and an interesting kind of a situation. Kylie Miller, who was a transfer here this year, played out at Washburn, came in and really gave us some nice ball control this year, and fit in really well. And I think she really kind of embraced the opportunity she had this year. The feedback that I've gotten from her and from her mom, and just she had a tough experience at Washburn, and she came up here, and now she loves volleyball again, and it's just good to hear. I think our kids have embraced her, and she's really embraced the opportunity to be part of the program, and it's helped us. Laura Beckman, who was a transfer from Colorado School of Mines, and a very nice player, and someone that really could have been a really good contributor here, and has just had some medical issues that have persisted, and has found a way to be a part of our program, even though she hasn't been able to play, and she's been here 3 years now, and just because of various things hasn't been able to get on the floor. But a dynamic personality. She's a presence when she's in the room, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. But she brings a lot to a situation. So we really miss not having her on the court, because she's a good player, and but just had some unfortunate events that have kind of followed her. Jenna Cruiser has been really carried a lot of the load the last 3 years here. Missed 1 year because of some medical issues, but has been a 3-year starter. Outside started the last 2 years I've been here, and the year before. And she was here, and she spoke earlier this year. She's dynamic. She's just she's making the most out of the chance to be a student here at Mines. Academically, has done some tremendous stuff. Has been a very involved volleyball player on the court, off the court. She's carried a pretty heavy load the last couple of years. She doesn't come off the floor very often, and she'll be missed in terms of she's a very team-oriented, I'll do whatever you need me to do, best I can player, and just is you know she's going to do the right thing off the court, on the court. You know, she may make an error here or there, but her head's in the right place and her heart's in the right place, and she's going to be a really good representative of this institution when she's out in the real world doing probably pretty amazing things. Who's our fourth? Kelsey, yeah, thanks. It's been a long week. Kelsey Glatt is a senior, transferred in last year, junior college transfer out of North Dakota. Kelsey's kind of battled the injury thing, especially this year. Missed probably about 40% of our matches with an arm, shoulder kind of issue. Right side player for us. Really embraced this year being a senior, being a captain, and has really jumped into that role. Has been taken on a ton of responsibility as a senior, and even though she hadn't always been able to be on the floor because of the shoulder issue, has certainly had a presence here, and good student, really balances the student-athlete components very well. Wish she would have been more healthy, because it's been a frustrating year for her, not being able to get on the floor a lot. But it happens in college athletics, and sometimes you deal with that. But those kids have been very positive this year, and have really helped us, I think, through what at sometimes has been kind of a tough season for us in terms of wins and losses. And they're high character kids, and they've embraced the opportunities and the situations that they found themselves in this year, and that's just, you really appreciate that as a coach. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Doug. Hardrocker football team had a tough week last week against Dixie State, getting set to go on the road. Coach Stacy Collins playing against his alma mater, Western Oregon. Welcome up, Coach Collins.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks everybody for coming out. Certainly not what we wanted on Saturday. We didn't play well enough, and fortunately, for whatever the reasons, we weren't ready to go, and that falls on me. So Dixie State did a good job. They came off a bye week, and I thought put some new wrinkles in. Their quarterback had been out for about 5 weeks before, and I sure as heck wish he would have been out on Saturday, because he had a heck of a day. He's a tremendous young football player. We saw him do the same thing against Central Washington when Central Washington went down there early in the season. Then he got hurt in the Western Oregon game. They've been out for a while, and you know, he gets you two deeps and it says an and/or, and when he got out there, he certainly did a good job. They're good at running back. They got a transfer running back that did a nice job, and they did a nice job of doing what they need to do, really running an option type offense with us, and got us out in space, and we broke down in all 3 levels. Didn't squeeze gaps at the D-line, didn't tackle well enough and closed some gaps at linebacker and struggled in the back end tackling open space. So give them credit, they had a nice plan and did a nice job executing that. And then, we can't start slow. That's 2 weeks in a row we started slow. Turned the ball over in the first half 3 different times, and then there are actually 4 different times. Those things are not conducive to success. So we got to find a way to get back on track, head down to Western Oregon and play a physical Western Oregon team. But Brad, you have some cuts of the Dixie State game? This is early in the game. This is Isaiah Ashby with a half sack here. We really knew if we could get him into a throwing situation, that was our weakness. Unfortunately, we didn't get into a throwing situation much on that day, so they got us on 1 play action pass over the top also. That's a nice job by both our ends, Isaiah Ashby and David Jackmore, squeezing that play right there. Here's Dominic Martinez does a great job on a 4th down stop here of getting the pick, and fortunately Dominic got hurt on that play, but a big time play by Dominic, and we'll miss him the rest of the season and get him healthy as he comes back for his senior year next year. But great job, brought some pressure on this one, and a great job with Dominic. And here's one of our pass plays right here. Jake came in when Trent went down there in the second quarter. Great job finding out the Zach Huber kids who just competed all year long. So great effort by both Jake and Zach on this play. So we head down to Western Oregon this week. They're on a pretty hot run. They've won 5 in a row. And they beat out Northern Alabama at home, which was the number 6 ranked team in the country at the time. Beat Azusa last week, but it's crazy. It seems like every game of theirs, when you watch it, it comes down to the last play. And other than their Simon Fraser game, 4 of the last 5 games, I think the ball's been between the 20 and the 25, with the opposing team driving in for the winning score, and they've gotten stopped. So they found a way to win a lot of close games. They're big and physical on both sides of the ball. It's going to be wet out there. It's beautiful Western Oregon in November, and it's going to be wet. The field's going to be wet. And that'll certainly change some things with the game, but we're excited to get our kids out there, get back on track, and finish our time in the GNAC. This will be our last GNAC game. So, any questions I can answer for you about the Dixie State game or the upcoming Western Oregon game?
What kind of offense does Western Oregon?
They'll run some. They're pretty multiple with what they're doing. They run a lot of offense. You'll see them run some read option stuff. So some stuff that not to the same level that Dixie did, but they've got quite a bit more of an elaborate passing game. They've got some good backs, and they mix that up. Got a big tight end who's also a basketball player for them. 6'6", 270. So he starts on the hoops team, and he leads them in touchdowns down in the red zone. They're a lot more multiple than what we saw last week.
Is Dixie State moving to the RMAC?
Yeah, Dixie State's moving the RMAC with us, so we'll be joining them. I think we're playing week 2 or week 3 next year, so we'll get a chance to. We're going to try to take him out pregame, somehow, some way. I don't know if you're up for contract or not, but just like any time you see a game like that, you make some adjustments, you make some changes. The biggest thing we got to do is play better fundamental football on the defensive side. And that's where it starts. And that's frustrating because we've actually been pretty good with that. The last 2 games we struggled with tackling space, constricting gaps. Some things we did really, really well early, and we got to get back to doing a better job of that. But the kid's a great player. Give him credit.
Do you feel like you're wore down a little bit? Just with the injury?
Yeah, when I get an injury report with 48 names on it, we're wore down. And with that, you got we got about 13 starters out and 18 to 20 guys that are role guys, so nobody wants to hear that. Nobody likes hearing about injuries, but the reality is, the teams that are playing well this time of year usually stay pretty healthy, and the teams that struggle a little bit, there's certainly a health issue, and it's hit us early in camp, and it continues. It seems like every week we go out there, 2 or 3 guys are going down, but next guy steps up, and when we're getting guys some more time, and the big picture things that'll help. But it's just like last week, we finally get Kyle Hudson back, and I think the 7th play of the game, his ankle gets rolled up again. So we just got to keep plugging away, find some guys to move through, and find a way to finish these last 2 games strong and keep plugging away at it.
What's the status on the game?
He'll be day to day with it, and it's kind of what he's been all year. Day to day, play to play, and when he's out there, he's playing really, really well. And Jake's doing some really good things, but and Jake has done some tremendous things, and he's only going to get better. But Jake, he hasn't played a lot of football. His senior year, he got hurt, and then he goes to Golden State's and red shirts, and then they wouldn't release him. So but Jake's going to be just fine. He's going to continue to get better and better. Yeah.
What you find a closet with a lot of your old guys getting a lot of money this year?
Yeah, I think so. I think, that it's hard to see that right now sometimes, but as you know, Coach, when you get guys time on the field, there's no substitute for getting live football action. And, if you look at our roster, you look at what you need at the end of the season recruiting-wise. Well, what we need is those injured guys to come back, and we've just signed a class. And so that's the exciting thing about it. When you've got a handful of all GNAT guys that haven't played all season long, and guys that we really thought would have heavy roles that played a limited time or a short amount of time, you see those guys coming back. You're not having to go outside to go get them. That's exciting. But it's also exciting to see a lot of these guys that are young playing. They're getting better each week. They're getting some time. We just need to put that into a group effort these last 2 games and go win some football games, which we're very, very capable of doing. All right, thanks again for coming out.
Thanks, Coach. Hardrocker Soccer finished the year strong. Win on the road at Westminster. Welcome up head coach Jordan Kadlec.
Thank you. Yeah, this weekend we went and played Colorado Mesa in Grand Junction and Westminster out in Salt Lake City. Friday, score didn't really affect how we played. I think we made 4 big mistakes, and we paid for them. We ended up losing that game 4-0. But overall, I don't think we played that bad. There's a lot of positives to take away from that. I thought we kept possession of the ball a lot better than we have in the past against them. We had more chances on goal, especially in the second half. When we were down 1-0 at half, we gave up an own goal probably 10 to 15 minutes in the second half, and that kind of took the wind out of our sail. So, but then like Nate said, Sunday we won. We beat Westminster 1-0, so that's a great way to end our season. Great way for our 2 seniors to go out. Not many seniors get to win their last game unless it's a national championship. So for them to do that, it's a great way to send them off. On that game though, it was like Regis a couple weeks ago. We dictated the pace of play most of the game, especially in the first half. I thought we should have been up 1 or 2-0. At the end of the first half, we were tied 0-0. The second half, the first 20 minutes, we let the game get away from us a little bit, but I thought we settled back in. And Brett Bender ended up having arguably the goal of the year. Hit a ball from about 35 to 40 yards out. It was in the upper left-hand corner of the goal. So for him to get that goal, it's like Coach Collins was just saying, he hasn't had the minutes we expected him to play this year. He got about 15, and he scored the game winner. So he took that opportunity and made the best of it. So I think Brad's got a clip of that goal. Brett does a really good job of receiving the ball in space here. We've been asking our midfielders to do that all year, is to come and get the ball. He's number 17 here. That's a good 40 yards out. That doesn't happen much, so for him to hit that was very good. So ended up being a game-winning goal. We won 1-0. So for us to score that goal and have a shutout is great. Anytime you don't give up any goals, you have a better chance of winning. So to end the season, I think we had 4 records. So we had the most goals in a season, most assists in a season, most points or assists and goals combined, and then the best save percentage by our 3 goalkeepers who ended up playing this year. So looking to build off that as we go into the off season. We're gonna get the guys off. That we have like 1 workout and between now and January 10th that our guys will take part in. But after that, we'll get in the weight room 3 times a week with Coach Miguez. The other 2 days will be conditioning. So up until about March 1st, we'll start our actual spring season. We'll get 20 hours a week again, and we'll play a couple spring games. So, any questions, Brad?
Can you explain how the points are calculated in a game?
Yeah, I believe you get 2 points for a goal and 1 for an assist. So Ian scores 1 goal and has an assist. He has 3 points in the game. That's how it's calculated there.
How does that work? I mean, is that factored into those conference rankings?
No, that's individual records. But as a team, we had 39 points together between goals and assists. The way the conference works with points is you get 3 for a win, 1 for a tie, 0 for a loss. So we did actually set that record too. So we ended up having 7 points in the season with 2 wins and a draw, which is good. But we'd absolutely like to improve on that next year. Any other questions? We have Ian Debois here. He's a freshman. Let him tell him a little bit about himself.
Hi, I'm Ian. Like Coach Kadlec said, I'm a freshman here at School of Mines. I'm a metallurgical engineering student right now, and the reason I decided to come to School of Mines was because of the educational opportunities they have here. I mean, for the price, it's second to none to any school in the nation, and you really just have the opportunity to succeed and go forward and have a great future afterwards. So, any questions?
I didn't hear where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Your major?
Metallurgical engineering. Other questions?
Talk about this season here.
All right, yeah, so this season, we started off relatively slow, I guess you could say, but we picked up quite a bit throughout the season. I mean, you can definitely tell the strides we made from the start of the season to the end of the season. We definitely, at the start of the season, a lot of times we just kicked the ball, we weren't really playing possession style. I mean, by the end of the season, I think we were able to dictate a lot of the pace of the play in the games, and we were able to really give teams scares, and even beat a couple teams, which was nice this season. So I think overall our team this season has made quite a bit of strides compared to this season.
Ian, perhaps you could educate some of our less intelligent soccer individuals, football people maybe in the room, about what possession style as opposed to kick the ball around.
All right, yeah. So kicking the ball up the field is basically, we'd be defending most of the game, and then when we get the ball, we just literally kick the ball up the field and then try to send our fast forwards to go get the ball. Possession style, we'd be able to keep the ball on our possession. We'd be able to work it around the midfield through the forwards and try to work out through the attack. If not, we'd reset, send it back to the defense, and really try to just maintain the ball in our possession. Yeah.
How have you improved as an individual this year?
As an individual, I think one of the biggest things I improved on was my ability to deal with the physicality of college soccer. I mean, at the start of the season, I had trouble adjusting to the physical nature of college soccer. I mean, compared to high school and club soccer, it's really just a whole nother level. And so I think I was able to, by the end of the season, really deal with the physicality of the game better and help the team maintain the ball in our possession more. All right, thank you.
All right, basketball season is upon us. Can't believe it, but making his debut at the Hardrocker Luncheon, welcome up women's coach Ryan Larsen, talk about the exhibition game at Utah State.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks for everybody coming out. It's good to be back up here. I'm not going to talk long. You guys are you're going to see a lot of me in the months to come. There's no doubt about it. But I do want to commend the fall sports on their tremendous seasons of taking a lot from coaches and teams. Coach Kadlec, you guys have fought every game, and it's been fun to see the improvement. Coach Tabbert, the same way your team has fought to the very end. Coach Johnson, I talked a lot about your squad and what you talked about. You don't think team when you think cross country. At least I don't. All right, and I love comparing that with our team. How you cross country kids, you talk team, and what a tight group you guys have. And Coach Collins, I may owe you a lot of money because you have the phrase "next man up." I owe you a lot of money because we're saying that quite a bit right now ourselves, as far as the injuries that we're going through. But we're really fun seeing you guys compete all year and just the jobs you guys have done. We had an exhibition game last Saturday at Utah State. I really enjoy getting on the road early with our team. Doesn't really matter how far it is, because Logan, Utah was a pretty good trip, right around 10 and a half, 11 hours. But that's a big part of it. Get your team on the road early, and you're just together 48 hours. And we needed that. Right now, when it's just go to class, come to practice, go study, eat some meat food, that type of stuff. You're together at practice and lifting weights and stuff like that. But you need to work on your team concepts quite a bit too, and that was a big part of it. We got a lot accomplished there, that's for sure. The reason that I really liked scheduling Utah State, they do some things really well. It's not your atypical team where they're going to play a lot of man or motion offense, stuff like that. They play. I know Coach Finkbeiner from a while. He was at Oral Roberts University when I was at University of South Dakota. He had great teams there, but he plays a really funky zone. It's dubbed the buzz zone, and I tell you what, you need to be strong with the ball and not be careless against that thing. And that's something that we haven't been very good at the last couple of years. We are very careless with the basketball at times, and that makes us pay when we turn it over. So that was a good game for us in that regard, where even though we still had 19 turnovers in the game, I guess Division I athletes, they were athletic. They are much improved from last year. They were a very athletic team. We did a good job where we didn't turn it over as, quite frankly, nearly as much as I thought we would. 19 was a pretty good number for us. And, within those turnovers, you kind of break that down a little bit where, 19, the way I counted, there was only, I believe, 4 that were turnovers that led to points for them. So that's a pretty good ratio for us right there. They weren't that, cut your head off turnover that I like to call it. Just give it to the other team and let them go score. I should probably stop using that at some point, that term, but it's a great way to get my point across to our team. So there's never such a good thing as a good turnover, but a lot of them, most of our turnovers, they were the right play that we were thinking about making, but we just didn't complete it. And that will get there in time. There's no doubt about it. And then, there's another reason why I really like that game is they run a lot of sets, and Coach Finkbeiner, he usually has one kid where he's going to get a bunch of shots for him. And that was good for us, where, we could put in a game plan and we could really just, stick to this game plan and guard a lot of sets. We could test our defensive philosophy as far as guarding screens and, switching and stuff like that, where if I was walking away from that game, that's where I was most impressed with our team this year. Coach Paula made the reference at halftime where we had the best gap control defense that we ever had in our time here. So big props to our kids on that, as far as being able to stick to a game plan early, and really just doing a great job there. And Utah State, they had the freshman of the year last year, an Australian out of Melbourne. First name is Funda, last name I'm not even going to try. Very, very good player. And we said, Funda is not going to beat us this game. She ended up with 19, which is about 6 points less than her average from last year. And even the 19 is skewed a little bit. Late in the fourth quarter, she hit 2 threes, just pull-up threes from about 24, 25 feet. That you're not going to guard those. Tough to guard. So you take away those 2 late baskets right there. We did a fantastic job on her, and again, credit to our kids for really guarding her and doing a good job there. Walked away from that game, a ton of highlights. Just very, very proud of, number one, the effort from our kids. It was a very good effort. With the 4-quarter system right now, we won 2 of the 4 quarters. Looking at the stat sheet, so we really competed in a tremendous fashion. We were down 4 at half, and we scared them pretty good. One thing I was disappointed in, we told the team at halftime, they're going to come out guns blazing, they're going to come out and try to punch you in the face right away, and we didn't quite respond to that. We knew what was coming, we didn't respond the right way, but yet the second half, it was always about 8 points, 12 points, and ended up falling short with 11, but 11-point loss. But very, very pleased with our team. It's kind of funny right now. You just wonder where we at. Where are we at? A lot of people are slapping us on the back right now. With 11-point loss to a good Division I team that's much improved. You can take that 2 different ways. You can, think you've arrived and think you're pretty good, or you can just build off it. And that's kind of what we're telling our team right now. How are we going to handle this? Are we going to is this going to drive us to get better, or are we going to think that we've arrived? And I got a pretty good feeling that our kids are still really, really hungry and have a lot to prove, because obviously there's a lot of basketball to be played. Devin Ashley was, she had 27 in that game. They could not stop her. She was the best player on the floor that night, and it was really fun to see. Devin is playing with a ton of confidence right now. She just picked them apart. They played that zone for 38 minutes, and they played man the last 2 minutes. And I kept looking at the score, but man, she got 22 points. Let's get her the ball. And she kept scoring it, and she just knifed them up. Devin was obviously a highlight for us, but a lot of kids did great things. One kid I want to really point out, Taylor Molstead, freshman from town, Rapid City, Stevens. You guys are going to enjoy watching her play this year. I've never really had a freshman that is fundamentally sound on both ends of the court as this young lady. She has been really well schooled in the defensive game of basketball, and she's a tremendous athlete that can score in all varieties. She got really good range from the arc. She can hit a pull-up jump shot, and she can get to the rim as good as anybody on her squad right now. So very, very high on her. And she walked out the floor, just hey, it's another game. She wasn't awestruck or anything. She just went out there and competed. So it was fun. I failed to mention, we did go into that game without our leading scorer from last year. Megan Rohr is she started practice this week. She's getting herself back into drills, which is good to see. That was kind of our game plan all along, just to get her back for full speed for opening weekend next weekend. Alexis Long did play. She had not participated in full practice at all, and we asked her, "You want to play in this game?" She goes, "Yeah." So she went out there without a full practice under her belt and competed very, very well. And so I was very pleased to see that. And we're getting healthy now, which is good. There's a couple kids still sitting out for practice and skipping drills and stuff like that, but I fully expect us to be at full strength next week. Great experience. Very, very pleased with the way we competed and a number of things that we did offensively and defensively. But like we're telling our team right now, we got to handle success, and we got to build on this, and just prove what kind of team are we right now. Looking forward to next week. Again, I'm gonna have a lot more to say here in the coming months, that's for sure. With the yellow basketball preview coming up, which I'll be able to explain or talk about all of our kids on our roster right now. So that will be fun. Thank you guys. We got any questions for me before I jump ship here and hand it over to Coach Henry? All right, good. I like it. Thank you. There we go.
That's not long.
I was just going to say, thank God you gave us the reference. It was going to be short today. I wasn't in the middle. I wasn't planning on speaking today, and then Nate came to us about an hour ago and said, "You want to recap or whatever?" And so I was sitting planning my 30-hour speech for next week, so or 30-minute, I guess we'll keep it at. I do want to thank Joel real quick here for asking Ian about the soccer, and I now know 10 times more in soccer than I have before too. So thank you. But just to recap real quick and then talk about the next weekend. We did go to South Dakota State. Feels like a couple weeks ago now. Last week, actually did some very good things. Saw some guys that hadn't played a lot get out there. They're a very good team, but we just didn't score. We got a team this year that can score the basketball, and we're very excited about that. More worried about us competing, playing hard, the defensive end, that kind of thing, and we busted our tails in that game and did a lot of great things on the defensive end. So we were very excited about that. We had to lead 6 minutes in, whatever it was, and then we go on like a 9-minute drought of not scoring. And we ended up, we were down 6 at halftime, or right before halftime, and they hit a couple buckets to go down 10, but we literally could have been down 40 at that time. So tribute to our guys that came out and just played their tails off on the defensive end. We'll be there on the offensive side. I'm not worried about it at all this year. Typically going in, we're worried about how we're going to score and those kind of things, and getting it done on the defensive end, where if we can do the things that we did against South Dakota State on the defensive end, play as hard as we did, compete, we're going to be good to go. So we're excited about that part of it. Injuries, I was just talking to Coach Tinker today, and I'm like, what are you guys doing right now? You're carried over to the basketball program because we have 16 guys on our team, and we practiced with 11 yesterday. So we got to get some guys healthy. A couple of them are going to be out for the season, unfortunately. A couple of them will hopefully get back, depending on some MRIs and that kind of stuff recently. So hopefully that injury bug doesn't affect us as much as some of the teams in the fall did, or it has, and kind of go from there. So as far as this weekend that I want to talk about, we do have our fundraiser game at 6 o'clock on Friday. You're all welcome to come. We got an area team from the Black Hills community, some old players that play college ball, and bring them in to get basically another game for us. We do have to play with a football guy and do some different things that way. But that being said, I don't know if your football guy is like the guy that you'll play this weekend. That's the tight ends.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I wish.
If he was, you might not have him back for the rest of it. We'll see. Get a chance to see our guys run up and down and get an opportunity that way. But the best part, I wouldn't say the best. That's very unique and a great opportunity for our guys. But a great opportunity is our alumni game. We haven't had an alumni game for a few years here now. We got 30 plus guys coming back from a few from Texas, from Washington, from Denver, obviously some Rapid City guys, and just a great collection. Joel and Nate have done a super job of getting the weekend together, to kind of talk to them, show them our facilities, talk to them a little bit, have a couple socials, do some things like that we're very excited about to give back to those alumni that went in our program. So we'll actually have that game on Saturday at noon. And we're going to do basically halves where we'll play our guys, and then one of those teams that obviously with that many guys, all of them aren't playing, but 20 plus of them want to play. So we're going to divide them into two teams. So we'll go starting at noon, and we'll play a half against our guys with one of the teams, another half with our guys against the other team, and then the two alumni teams will actually play each other. So basically from noon until 2, there'll be some good basketball going on. I wouldn't define good basketball here. Well, there'll be some basketball going on in there. Might be great basketball, right? Not just good basketball. So excited to have all those alumni here. Hopefully a lot of you have seen them play. A lot of them in the recent years will be back. So an opportunity to come back out here and watch a lot of them, as well as ourselves, especially that Friday night. So Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and should be a fun weekend for us and the basketball team from the past and present. Any questions for me? All right, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next couple weeks.
Thanks, Coach. For the record, Coach Larsen, I think you do a nice job. I love listening to basketball coaches. Looking forward to the season, guys. I want to let you go. I'll remind you, scheduled posters are available out in the lobby. Grab a poster. And also, next week we'll have some pocket schedules ready to go. We're going to move the luncheon to next Thursday. So just mark your calendars. Next Thursday, I'll let you all know. Thanks to Subway. Thanks for coming. Have a great week.